they have been invited to perform in this year's Winter Fete.
A lifelong dream?
One of the hottest Netflix shows right now is, of course, Shadow and Bone. It's so good it's been likened to Game of Thrones by both fans and critics. But what are people saying about the characters? Today, we're going to take a look into and rank the most loved and hated characters in Shadow and Bone. Let's go. Alina Starkov. Alina Starkov is definitely the most loved character on Shadow and Bone. She's the storyteller for the series, and all the events we see playing out before us are told through her eyes. She's super smart, and despite having a rough beginning in life, she overcomes the odds to have incredible success and a huge adventure. She's orphaned as a child and doesn't have a lot of security in her life until she joins the armed forces. She doesn't immediately begin fighting in the border war, though she is still using her intelligence to be a map maker. She unlocks her previously hidden abilities as a sun summoner, which gives her the potential to be an enormous asset in taking down the Fold. She trains hard to hone her powers and falls in love with the Darkling. Her ability to love and be affectionate makes her incredibly popular with fans, and when she realizes his true intentions, she uses her compassion and understanding of him to free herself from his influence. Her strength, love, and intelligence make her the most loved character without a doubt, and fans can't wait to see more of her journey to ridding the world of the Fold and taking her place as the most powerful out of all the Grisha. The Darkling. Despite being a pretty powerful villain, the Darkling is loved amongst fans for his complex character and long history. There's a lot to know about him, and his motives are not always clear-cut and obvious, making him super interesting to keep an eye on. The Darkling is handsome, dangerous, and powerful. He is also extremely old, having lived for hundreds of years. All this time has given him lots of knowledge and experience, starting from back when he was a young boy with special powers. He wanted to use his gifts for good and spend many years taking care of the Grisha and keeping them safe. But over time, he became corrupted and created the Shadow Fold. His long life meant that he has taken on multiple identities, each seeming more powerful and influential than the last. He has worked his way through the entire political ladder, seemingly without anyone knowing who he truly is and what he has done. He is desperate to control Alina, who is the only character who has any chance of becoming as powerful as him. Because he's an amplifier, he has the ability to amplify Alina's powers, which definitely makes him the strongest character out of them all. His obsession with Alina makes him a little flawed and therefore more likable to some. Jesper Fahey. Jesper is one of the most loved characters on the show, despite not being the strongest and not always the smartest. He's incredibly young, only 17 years old, and already has a bit of a wild life, taking part in gang activities. He definitely has a bit of a gambling problem, which can distract him from his missions and targets, but he's still incredibly lovable. His special talent is definitely his sharpshooting abilities, and he's able to shoot a hole through a coin on demand. He's famous for slinging his guns around, and his skills are utilized on missions where he needs to hit difficult targets. His sharp eye doesn't just extend to his guns though, as when we first meet him, he's able to tell the difference between legit and counterfeit coins at a gambling club. So he's smart to boot. He also seems to be just a decent person, despite his impulsive and reckless nature. During an assassination job where he had to take a hit out, he didn't want to do it in front of a child who was nearby. His care for a potential witness showed fans how compassionate he can be. Despite his apparent fearless nature, he does have some cute moments with Milo the goat where he hugs the animal for reassurance before opening fire on his enemies. Fans have even started making cute memes and art with Jesper and Milo, who creators have affectionately referred to as his emotional support goat. Baghra. Baghra is incredibly powerful upon her introduction, and she's already an established shadow summoner by the time we meet her. She's extremely old, even more ancient than the Darkling, and she trains Alina in an attempt to make her strong enough to face him in combat. It's revealed that Baghra is actually the Darkling's mother, which comes as a huge shock. It was not a happy family though, as Baghra had a child on purpose with the sole intention of raising him to be incredibly strong. However, she now fears that her son has gone too far and he's too powerful, and she has been on the lookout for someone to be in a position to take him down a peg. She knows him better than anybody else, and besides, she taught him how to use his shadow summoning abilities. If anyone is in a position to help bring him down, it's definitely Baghra. That came in the form of Alina, who she took under her wing and trained to use her powers to the fullest extent. Fans firmly believe that if Baghra had not trained Alina to use her sun summoner powers properly, that she would never been able to unleash her full strength as she has done. Not only does Alina become more powerful, but she also becomes more confident and believes in herself. This has made Baghra incredibly well loved with the fans. Zoya. Zoya is initially introduced as a villain on the same side as the Darkling and the Shadow Fold. She has powers over the wind and air pressure, and she uses this to drive skiffs across the fold. She is an important character when it comes to the inner workings of the Shadow Fold, and the Darkling knows that he needs her on her side. However, the death of a family member pushes their allegiance away from the Darkling. She gets over her dislike for Alina and decides to ally with her and the Crows. It will be very interesting to see where her character goes in the future of the series, as she clearly has a lot of power that she can use against her enemies. Fans are really looking forward to seeing what is going to happen with her and all the really cool things she's going to be able to do, and how upset the Darkling is going to be when he realizes what a powerful asset he has lost. How is he going to feel when he sees Zoya's powers used against him? We're going to have to wait and find out, but it's definitely going to be one exciting skiff ride. Jenya Sefian. Jenya is one complex character. It has been super hard for fans to figure out her intentions because she's so good at keeping her emotions and feelings hidden completely. She has the power of a tailor, enabling her to heal wounds and change people's appearances. This has come in handy for her during the story, and she uses her powers and her extremely high intelligence to manipulate situations to get what she wants. She has even influenced someone's life or death, as Alina was supposed to be assassinated at the hands of the conductor. Due to Jenya's ability to change people's faces, she made Maria look like Alina, and Marina ended up being assassinated instead. Some people think that Jenya is all beauty with no brains, but that simply isn't the case at all. Jenya is very close to the royal family, having been a loyal servant of the queen for years and years, since she was a child in fact. However, the king has secretly been abusing her, leading to the queen to dislike her. Jenya was strong enough to get revenge on the king for what he had done, using her close position to the royal family to poison him to death. This benefited her obviously, but it also worked into a larger plan hatched by the Darkling. She was so good at keeping her true intentions under the radar that it took Alina until this hugely important death to realize that Jenya was not on her side at all, but instead reporting to the Darkling all along. Inej Ghafa. Quite possibly one of the sneakiest, most underhanded, intelligent characters of the show is Inej Ghafa. Despite working on some pretty nefarious jobs, she has strong feelings about refusing to take a life. She ends up breaking this vow to herself once her sister was in danger, as to her, the balance of saving her sister was worth taking the life of a target. She's incredibly skilled at infiltrating protected locations, and she spends more time listening than making herself heard. She's able to pick up on things that characters miss, and it makes her extremely well liked in the fandom. She's extremely proficient with knives and can pull off some seriously cool acrobatics. When Inej is on screen, fans definitely have to pay attention to how she outsmarts her opponents every time. That's it for our list. Did you like it? Who are your favorite characters? Who are your most hated characters? Let us know in the comments down below.